Okay, today I'm taking a look at these. These are the FIFINE X3 Wireless Headphones. Those people that watch my channel on a regular basis will know that I've reviewed a lot of FIFINE products, and I've got to be honest, I'm a bit of a fan. But normally it's gaming headsets, so it's like gaming headsets, studio monitors, mics, all those sort of things. These are your sort of everyday headphones for, you know, going out, exercising, out and about, traveling. They're over the ear. They come with active noise cancellation, a few other little tricks and treats and stuff like that. So we're going to do an unboxing and see what they're like and see whether, like other FIFINE products, you get a really big bang for your buck. Let's check them out and do an unboxing. Okay, so these are the X3 wireless headphones from FIFINE. Active noise cancellation, multi-point connection, allowing you to connect it to more than one device at one time. Compact weight design, long battery life, crystal clear calls, we'll be the judge of that, and multiple EQ modes. And here, great quality, cable connectable, so you don't have to use it wirelessly if you prefer a cable. Comfortable earmuffs, fast link connection, because it's a 5.3 Bluetooth, I believe, so should be good. And then just on the back here should be one wireless headphones, 2.5mm detachable microphone, USB charging cable, a 3.5mm audio cable, so when you don't want to use it wirelessly. And they claim a connection range of up to 10 meters, 32 feet, 32.8 feet. Music playback time, 33 hours. And standby time, 65 hours, with a communication time of 40 hours if you're not playing music and just chatting on the phone. Chargeback time, about 2.5 hours. So there you go. And then all the Bluetooth protocols for those that care about those kind of things. Anyway, let's get on and do the unboxing. FIFINE manual guide. We'll have a look at later. And here they go, nicely folded. So that just gives you an idea of how much they sort of can fold away there, which is always good to know when you're sort of taking it, traveling and stuff. See where it really folds back there. Doesn't take up a lot of space. They feel quite light, which is good. Not super light, but light. And then there's some wires here, which we'll look at in a minute. Let's get on with the main unwrapping. So there you go, first impressions. They fold flat as well, which is good to know. See that? So you can just have them flat on the desk there. Let's put that. Yeah, which is good. It gives you a good impression. So very good for, as I say, for storage or just for resting on your shoulders and stuff when you're not listening. Let's just open these cables first. So USB-A to USB-C. And then this is your 3.5mm jack to 3.5mm jack if you want to use them as wired headphones. There should be another... Yeah, I nearly missed it. There's another little package in here. I thought there was one missing. Now this should be the microphone, which I think is optional. Say, for instance, if you're using them as work device, like Zoom calls and stuff like that, and you want a microphone, we'll test that out as well to see what the sound quality is like. The cushions feel nice and, oh yeah, they do. They feel spongy. Well, that's good. If I just give an idea, look. See how long it takes to come back. They feel nice and spongy there. Yeah, I mean, it's plastic, but it feels good quality plastic. Then you've got the sort of various controls on this side. So you've got the ANC, so noise cancelling, volume button, on, off. Then I think that is for the, yeah, that's when you're connecting it, 3.5mm jack, these. If you want to listen wired, USB-C for charging, and then that is where the microphone will go when you want to use it on the microphone. Nice little accent here. Is that? It's a sort of reddy gold accent. I quite like that. I mean, the design-wise, I really like. They're quite smooth. I think that's the external mic there for the ANC for the noise cancellation. Presuming there's one on here. Yeah, there's one on this side as well. Certainly got a bit of bend in them. Wouldn't overdo it there. The cups as well, quite flexible, so should suit most heads. And then the extensions are at the top here, not at the bottom. So they say they twist, which is quite good to fit heads. And also, as I said, to just lie flat like that. And then it's quite stiff. It's not quite a ratchet, but almost a ratchet. that sort of metal there. Let's just peel off the protective tape on the top. And then, yeah, same, nice and sponge, quite a lot. I mean, this is quite hard at the top, but here, quite, I would say, quite a thick. We'll see what that's like on my old bald head. It only, the sponge bit, the soft bit, cushiony bit, is only from there to there. So we'll see what it looks like on my head. That is what you get in the box. These have actually changed my listening habits, and I'll come to that a little bit later. But let's have a look at the overall design. Now, those more observant of you may recognize or think that you kind of might recognize the sort of design style or influence. Let's just call it influence in terms of the way that they're designed and the sort of nice minimalist design you can see here. To me, these look very similar to the Sony WH-1000 series, which is the sort of thing I think they're trying to compete with. The big difference, of course, is that those Sony WH-1000s are about £200. These are going to set you back about 60 quid. In fact, in some places in America, you're probably getting for between $50 and $60. And that's pretty cheap. And so you're probably expecting that sound-wise and all of that, it's going to sound pretty cheap as well. But as I have learnt with FIFINE, that is not always the case. But we'll come to the sound quality later. But overall, I really like the sleek design. I think they're really, really nice. You can also get them in beige, which is quite interesting. And I've seen other headsets do a sort of a beige color, if that's what you're into. But the black, I think, is quite sleek. As you can see, there's sort of plenty of twists. So they go flat like this. So you can store them flat. That's not a problem. They'll store flat on your shoulders like that as well. But you might not need to do that if you're talking to someone or something like that, because there's a transparency mode, which we'll come to later. They've got a twist here, but also plenty of give here as well, so that they fit nice and comfortably. And for doofuses like me, they have got a very faint L and R, if you're not too sure. But they fit very, very comfortably. In fact, already, it's actually, so I've not turned them on yet, and they fit over the ear. So you do get that isolation. And already, as soon as I put them on, like the outside sounds, does a good job of blocking out the outside sounds without even turning them on, because they're over the ear. Look, I'm an older gentleman. The ears are getting a bit big. That's what, you know, that's what happens when you get older, but they comfortably fit there. It's weird. Every time I do that, it really does block out the sound quite well on their own. As I say, I haven't turned them on yet, but already you're getting that nice isolation that you get with over-the-head headsets. And that's why I kind of like them, really. This is why, as I said, I mentioned earlier, I don't normally walk around the house listening to music on headphones or anything like that. And normally, yeah, if I'm out and about and traveling, then, you know, it's these or something that I'm listening to. But no, not anymore. I've sort of sat in the garden with these on, just chilling with a cup of tea, lost to the music, a bit chill out music or something like that. Really nice. But anyway, so yeah, over the ear comfort like that. Really, really nice. And also, as you can see, I wear glasses. I'm not getting any pressure here. Sometimes I get a bit of pressure on here and it really aches. I've worn these for hours and I've almost forget that they're on because they're quite lightweight. And then even here, of course, on my bald head, so I've got no protection. You know, if this is not sort of soft or spongy enough, you begin to feel it on the old crown there, but this is nice and spongy, yeah? And that's what I really like. So they actually, combination of lightweight, no strain on the ears here, comfortably fitting over the ears. So from a design and wearability point of view, first class, really, really nice. I think it's the fact they are light. Yeah, so as I said, I've worn these for a long time and just not even realized I had them on, which sounds a bit weird because, you know, they're not like little in-ear headphones. They're over the head, but really, really comfortable to wear. In terms of functionality, super easy. Switch them on. What I really like when you switch them on, you'll know you switched them on because you get a little voice inside. And yeah, call me a bit weird, but I quite like it. It's sort of like Chinese accent, Chinese English accent, saying, let's see if we can hear it when she says it.
Power on.
I don't know if the mic picked that up, but I think it's quite cute. She sort of says, power on, connected. And then it goes connected. So it automatically connects with the Bluetooth. So obviously you have to set that up. That's really super straightforward. It finds it straight away the first time you turn them on. And of course, the beauty of these is you can connect two devices. So I can have them connected to my computer and at the same time connected to my phone. And, you know, if a phone call comes in, I can take the phone call and stuff like that. As I said, these aren't your gaming headset or anything like that, or your studio monitors. These are your everyday entertainment headset for listening to music, chilling out. They have a gaming mode, interestingly enough, which I'll come to it, but you're sort of all-rounder. I'm not a fan of the jack of all trades. That's why I have these, again, from FIFINE, which are my studio monitors. So I use these when I'm editing or sitting at the computer doing work like that. Gaming as well. I've got these wired ones here with the mic and everything. I like specific mics for specific jobs. So these are your out and about everyday headsets, but you can use them to game and you can use them for work and Zoom calls and stuff like that as well. And they have a built-in mic, of course, and a boom mic as well. So if you are maybe doing a lot of Zoom calls and stuff and you want to use a little boom mic, you can do that, although you don't need it. And we'll come to the sound quality and all of that.
So now I'm using the Bluetooth microphones for the microphone built into these headphones. So for instance, if you get a call, this is the sound quality of your voice. If somebody calls you, you can answer the phone, and then this is the sort of the quality of the voice that you're going to get. This is without a little microphone boom that it comes with. So obviously you don't want to be walking around the streets with a microphone boom. It's look pretty stupid. But this is ideal if you're using these as your workhorse, your kind of office Zoom calling type headphones at work. Okay, so now I'm using the boom mic. Should be able to hear that. And it takes a little bit of adjustment. I think, you know, don't have it too close to your mouth. And I think it kind of works a lot better. Have it too close to your mouth, it can be a bit loud. But there you go. This is just to give you an idea. So this is what you'd probably want to use. I know some people love a headset at work and have a little Zoom mic like that, and then that works great. As I said, you wouldn't want to walk around the streets with this. You'd look pretty silly. And the microphone built into the headset without this works perfectly fine. But for those that want to use these for work, which you can, you've got the added benefit of this boom mic here. Let me know what you think. I mean, it's not brilliant, but does the job, and it's, well, like talking, sounds like you're talking to somebody on the telephone, to be honest.
In terms of battery life, then yeah, I've been trying these for about a week and there's still plenty of battery in them. I've not had a problem. Of course, they're super easy to charge. It takes about 2 hours. They claim battery life is 33 hours, music playback time, 40 hours for communication. So I guess you're walking around getting phone calls and stuff. And standby 65 hours and a charging time of approximately 2.5 hours. I've not had chance to test out 33 hours of music playback time, but I have used them quite a lot over the last few days since I've had them. I'm really enjoying them. And yeah, battery's not been a problem. So they've got transparency mode. So you've got your noise cancellation, volume control, and then your sort of on, off, pause button and all of that there, all down the side. And actually at first with all those buttons, I thought, well, that's going to be a bit awkward. How do you navigate them? How do you know you've got the right button? But actually it's super easy to guide your thumb because there's only 3. So you know exactly where you are. So I've pressed the A and C straight away there. I could hear my fan going and now I can't. So yeah, it's got pretty good noise cancellation. It's not like you're in an isolation tank, but it's really, really good. Where I really noticed it when I was sitting in the garden and I suddenly noticed I couldn't hear the wind or the birds in the trees. In fact, I'd forgotten to put the music on. I still had them on because they were so soft. I'd forgotten to take them off. And I was sitting in the garden with a cup of tea and I suddenly realized normally I can hear the birds tweeting and stuff like that and the slight rustle of the wind in the trees. Couldn't hear them. And I realized, oh yeah, it's working all right. And then of course you get the voice, you'll say N and C off when you press it. Once you've learned the way it works, so it's quick press, so you get transparency mode. So now with that, I can hear my own voice now. Oh my God, I sound awful. So now I'm hearing my own voice. So transparency mode allows you to hear the outside noise or if somebody's talking to you. So once you press the A and C straight away, I've got no music playing. So you know it's working because I can hear, as I said, my computer's just fan. I can't hear my computer fan, anything like that. And then the great thing with transparency mode as well, if you have got your noise cancellation on, if somebody comes up to you, all you need to do, if you're listening to music, is press down here, and then you can hear them talking. As long as your finger's on here, you can hear them talking. Oh, yeah. What's that, Bob? Yeah. All right. Yeah, sure. And then take your finger off, and instantly the noise cancellation kicks back in. So really, really useful feature if you're working and you like listening to music and be in isolation and somebody doorsteps you at work or something, or ask you a question in the street, whatever. You could just, like that. And straight away you can hear what they're saying. The music just dies down in the background and all of that. Of course, if you want to pause the music, then you can find the little pause button, which is, again, really easy to navigate with your thumb down the sides. No problem. In terms of volume button, press it for the volume to go up, and then long press, and then the volume comes down. So that's the functionality. Really, really cool. Of course, other added, before I move on to the sound quality, you can also listen through a 3.5mm jack here. So that sort of just plugs in as normal. So if you don't want to use the Bluetooth, I mean, I don't think it's quite as powerful as the Bluetooth and the sound, but it's quite useful to have, particularly if you're on a plane or something and you're watching a movie on the screen and you just got the awful airline headset. You could swap this round and use this on your airline instead and plug it in. I'm not sure some of the features kind of work when you plug it in with a 3.5mm. I'm sure I'll double check. And if it is, I'll put it in the notes down there. But in my experience, you lose some of the functionality that you get with the Bluetooth if you are using the 3.5mm jack. Really straightforward, just goes in there. You get a much better experience using them with Bluetooth, but it's just a nice added addition, extra added value and stuff like that. Really useful. As I said, if you're on a plane, plug it into the rubbishy, sound system that they have on the plane if you want to watch a movie and stuff like that. Much more comfortable and better listening experience. In terms of sound quality, I've got to say, I'm really pleasantly surprised. There are sort of some equalization modes. So if you tap it twice, you get a sort of a more bassier sound. To me, you lose some of the sort of the mid sounds. I think overall the sound goes down, so you have to sort of turn it up. So the bass goes up, but the rest of the sound comes down a bit too much. And I'm not a fan. I mean, if I was listening to something like Chase and Status, which is a bit of drum and bass EDM type thing, I much prefer it in the normal mode as opposed to the bass mode. But again, horses for courses, you might like it a bit more bassy, but I find that bass loses a lot of the mid-tones, and yet I'm still getting a strong bass in normal mode. So I'd much prefer the normal mode. And then you've got gamer mode. So if you press it 3 times, and then she'll say gameplay mode. I'll try and create that for you so you can hear. So that's the bass. It makes that kind of bloomp sound.
Gameplay mode.
So hopefully you pick that up. She's a gameplay mode. And again, the gameplay mode, it just allows you that option to use them as gaming headsets. Depending on what latest Bluetooth connection you have with your computer, there can be a slight little lag and latency, but it's not too much. That's why I much prefer using my wired headphones if I'm gaming, or my dedicated gaming headset for that. But again, it's just about the versatility. It's not claiming to be a jack of all trades, but if you want to use them, as I said, for work, for gaming, for listening to music, you can do that. But I would recommend using FIFINE's dedicated gaming headsets for gaming personally. What these are really good at are your everyday headset for me. Walking around, listening to music, as I said, on the train, on the commute, in the street, down the gym, or at work. But for music, for me, it really does the job. I mean, are there better headsets out there? Of course there are, but you will be paying significantly more. As I said, very similar in design and probably aiming at the same sort of market as the Sony WH-1000 series, the 1004X or whatever they call. No, they don't have like built-in AI or anything like that, but You can take calls. So if a call comes in, you can sort of press the sort of on off button here, and you can, oh, I've just touched my headphone and went to transparency mode there and heard my voice. You can just hit the sort of, on off button here very quickly. When a call comes in, take the call, and the mic quality is really, really good for a phone call. I'm not saying, good enough for doing voiceover records, of course not, but for phone calls and stuff like that. So there you go. Super, super impressed. I think I covered most of the stuff. I'll put some of the kind of stats on the screen. As I said, in terms of the frequency range, you're looking at 20 to 20 kilohertz. Battery capacity, it's a 600 milliamp battery. Music playback, 33 hours at 100% volume. Phone call, video calls, maximum 40 hours. Charging time, 2.5 hours, and all of that. I'll put the information on the screen for you to have a look at there. But overall, again, wow. I was not really in the market for a pair of over-the-head everyday headphones like this, because as I said, I don't listen to music around the house or out and about, or if I do, I just take my little buds with me, but not anymore. These are coming with me everywhere I go, and suddenly I'm listening to music in places where I didn't used to listen to music. Like I said, sitting in the garden, chilling, cup of tea, bit of chill out music, I'm sorted. But if I want to switch it up a bit of drum and bass, bit of chase and status, they're still packing a punch. They're still delivering. As I said, I much prefer it in the normal mode, not in the bass enhanced mode. And it's still, you're getting a lot of clarity in there. As I said, for the money, I'm a little bit blown away, really. I mean, I've bought cheap headphones before, but you always do compromise on the quality. But with these, the build quality, the comfort, and the overall sound quality, given the price, again, this is relative to the price, it is once again, as I find often with FIFINE products, punching well above its weight. So there you go. All the links for different, where you might be able to get them and source them. There'll be discount links as well if you can get them. All of that will be down in the description below. I hope you found that useful. I hope you found that interesting. If you did, then please hit the likes, because I like it, YouTube likes it, and it helps people like you find content just like this. And of course, if you're new to my channel, then do me a great honor, please hit that subscribe button, toggle that notification bell, and that way you'll know when I go live with content just like this. Talking of content just like this, why don't you check out these other FIFINE products that I've reviewed? Because I love FIFINE products. I think they're really good value for money. And so you don't overlook them because of the price. Anyway, check out these reviews.